how's it going? Off on another mission. I've got an epic quest to do tomorrow as well. I'll talk about that later. I've got a lot of talk. This is an hour's drive, an hour there and an hour back. Things I do for going to buy cheesy guitars, really. So this is a Ibanez Roadstar 2. Even though we've already discussed that it was originally the Roadster. Somebody actually mentioned the other day, was that something to do with the car? You know, there's a car called a Roadster, apparently. Maybe they had to change it. I don't know, I'm still not sure it wasn't a spelling mistake. It was Roadster, then it was Blazer, which were made by a different... The Roadsters were Fujigen, but they apparently didn't know how to do one-piece maple necks. So it went to a company called Dyna for making the Blazer series for 2 years, something like that. And then the Roadstar 2 came out after the Blazer. Basically Ibanez Strat. So this one's a 1986 one. I might have talked about it in the video yesterday. There's going to be an awful lot of me driving videos coming about just now. I apologise in advance. I'm putting out more than one video a day just now, just for... I'm going to be sticking snippets of download on all over the place. I won't put them on. The main video's at 7 o'clock at night, so if you go on YouTube after 7, the last video will be the most recent one. It'll be probably a proper video. I don't know whether I'm classing this as a proper video or not yet. And I'm just going through Kilsyth. So I'm off to Kircaldy, which is not something I would normally do for a guitar. But in saying that, it's not actually as far away as Prestponens was. And look at the weather, it's glorious. I'm sneezing like a lunatic. Not any, I actually even got my computer on the bottom of the screen, like along the bit with the time and the date is. It tells you what the weather forecast is. And I actually saw a new thing which was like a sun with high UV written on it. Because I've never seen that before since I got that computer. That's been like 2 years. I'm already quite, I don't know if you can see, I'm as tanned as I'm ever going to get. I went from white to red, the Scottish way. Oh man, a removals company's just pulled out in front of me and is doing 10 miles an hour. And this road doesn't really have, I'm kind of tempted to try and overtake him here. I'm just letting him drive slowly, I'm not in a rush. I'm meeting this guy at 5:15, it's now 4:05. So now we're away. That'll be fine. Yeah, so this Ibanez Roadster is a slightly different shape than the Roadstar 2s from 84 to 85. They're kind of the same shape as a Blazer. Basically just a Strat, but with a slight hook on the two horns. Might be a wee bit bigger than a Strat as well, but this one is an 86, which is the same year, so it's the last year of the RS models, I think, because my RG530, which is also a Roadstar 2, RD standing for Roadstar Guitar, oh, he's going even slower. Oh, didn't want to through the lights. So maybe a little bit of road rage going on here. I don't want to overtake this truck. It's just trade suppliers to the Horticultural Society, Glasgow Road, Kilsyth. Well, I'm in Kilsyth. Hopefully he's just about to go home and he'll cut off the road here. Actually, just funnily enough, today I was away picking up, or last night. Still up my bum from download. 4 days of sun and drinking. Don't have screw with your mind. I bought the SG that I just swapped for the Orange Amp, PV hybrid telly, and a Yamaha Revstar. Just came from there, from Mr. Unfortunate Name. I need to find out what his first name is. I'm assuming he's got a first name. His first name's not right. He keeps changing his name to something even more offensive. Wow, that's... We're not in a rush today, are we? I'm not in a rush. But I'm annoyed that this truck pulled out in in front of me. And it's because it's a high-sided, looks like a removals van. Can't see past it. As soon as there's a straight right here, I'm going to take it. See what the little panda can do. It's not quite straight enough. Can't quite see far enough ahead. Maybe it'll drive faster once we get into it. Oh, it's up at 30 now. It's coming up for a 60. What's he going to manage? I thought since he lives on this road, he probably knows the road quite well. You know you're not going fast when you hit 35 and you think, this isn't too bad. I'm really struggling to keep a thread going here with the Roadsters. Yeah, so this has got a slightly sleeker body than a Strat. Kind of Super Strat territory. Got an Ibanez Super 70 humbucker in the bridge. Red headstock, black scratch plate. Original Ibanez speed knobs. It's got the original pickups in it. It looks pretty much unmolested. The guy, the one wasn't very good photos on the advert on Facebook Marketplace. Yeah, so I was quite right not to risk life in danger. I put his indicator on and took it off. I assume he wasn't trying to let me past. I assume he's going left here. He's going left here. That's good. Really, for someone who lives on Glasgow Road, Kilsyth, he managed to miss where this junction was by half a mile. Once he'll have to go really slow around this corner, I'd imagine. I shouldn't be slagging him off. Driving Luton vans is annoying. They just take up an awful lot of room. Imagine this Porsche behind me is going to overtake me. Yeah, so while I'm off thread, I'm trying to continue this. I should probably edit this so it's only the bits where I'm talking about the guitar, but can't do that. Yeah, this is one that looks like the Alan Holdsworth model, very much. Same year as well. The Alan Holdsworth's got a special saddles on it though, and an aluminium bridge. It kind of looks the same as the one that's on this. This has got one of the funny looking Ibanez bridges when they were making their own thing. It's a 2-point trem, I suppose, so sort of like a Strat one, but it doesn't look like a Strat one. I think it's worded funnily how the string's attached to it. I think it might be like a unique design. Like I think you drop the string in and it kind of locks in under it somewhere. So it should be good. Don't really need another guitar. This one's got a rosewood fingerboard. But at this price, I think even if I don't like it or decide to keep it or need the money, I think I could probably double the money if I stick it on eBay or onto one of the specific Ibanez sites, because they're getting rare. The Roadsters, they used to be quite common, but I think a lot of them didn't survive because they went through a stage of being cheap shite, if you know what I mean. Not saying that they were ever shite, but so this is 86, so by the time it got to 96 or something, it was a very unfashionable thing to have. That'd be round about when I started playing my Western Spectrum, when these guitars were, 60, 70 quid all the time. And then because they were so cheap, people either just didn't look after them, tried modding them themselves, painting them, and then eventually once the strings broke just threw them out, sort of thing. I think a lot of that's happening in these days now that we're starting to get a little bit of a, once you play one of these and then you compare it to what you get now, I'm talking about, the sort of higher end Squires, Mexican Fenders, stuff like that, they compare very, very well, as in it plays like a guitar that should cost $1,000 type thing. But it just doesn't have the look. Oh! I'm just thinking there, it's a Roadster 440 that Marty McFly plays in Back to the Future. So it's kind of close to, it's a similar thing. It's a couple of years earlier. Because Marty McFly didn't, he was in 1985, wasn't he? So you'd imagine it was probably filmed in 1985. It wouldn't have been filmed in 1986, it would have been filmed in 84, 85. So when it came out, it was current year. So the one after Marty McFly's guitar. And to be honest, if it had been all black, I would have been less likely to go for it. This is a Ferrari red. Right, I'm going to have to put petrol in. How expensive is this petrol station? Do I just go for this petrol station? I'll see you. I'll get back to you. Oh, hey, so got some diesel. More than half a tank. tyres. I don't think there's a sea. It's kind of inshore a bit, but it's definitely an East Coast place. Just trying to set myself up for being used to when the guy goes, alright! They don't really talk like that, but they've definitely got a slight East Coast twang about them. So basically it's a pretty long, boring drive, but tomorrow I've got a bit of I'm going for a bit of an expedition. What was that? An epic quest? That's what I said earlier. Scott was meant to be coming with me, but his daughter's broken her hand, had to go to hospital. So I'm going to go and see him tomorrow instead as part of my epic quest. So epic quest involves going to Bears Dent to pick up a pile of guitar parts, a sort of unbuilt parts caster from my pal Taylor, who lives down in Kilmarnock. So I'm now going to the Kingdom of Fife just now, and tomorrow I'm going to the Shire, which is I'd never heard called before, but there's two folk I know live down there and they both call it the Shire, so it's called the Shire. Obviously also when you're text messaging that, when you type in Shire it changes to shite. But luckily I saw that and didn't just say I'll be down in the shite. Yeah, so I'm going to Bears Den to pick up some parts from my pal, and then I'm driving down to Kilmarnock to drop off those parts to my pal. And he also bought the Strongbow caster for his friend. I think him and his pals have chipped in for one of his pals is in a bereavement, I think, and they'll chip in and get him something to cheer him up. Apparently he's a bit of a Strongbow drinker. Fair enough. That's a good guitar, that Strongbow caster. That would have gone with me to download if you hadn't bought it, to be honest. Not that there's any point taking a guitar to download, let's be honest. It's completely pointless. Next time I'm going to learn from previous mistakes and basically just take that wee Don't Be a Dick guitar. It's all you need. You don't need a cajon, an acoustic, an electric and a bass. Although I might take the bass as well, just because the bass is nice to easy to play drunk. I was well impressing people with that bass actually down there. Clipped up my belt playing the Sabbath. Oh, it's getting quite hot. Cautious. And I lost I don't know if I talked about one of the previous videos where I bought my new super mirrored aviator sunglasses. We went there and I met a girl we met there before, the last time we were at downloads. I need to get myself sunglasses. I'm going to hope I've got aviators somewhere. And I was like, I bought a pair yesterday for £1. Like, do you want them? Yes. It's like, nah. Why did I give away my cool sunglasses? Because these ones are cool with the pink and the edges on them. But so tomorrow, Bears Den pick up parts and drop them and the Strongbow caster off at in Kilmarnock. I'm going to go and see my pal Leon Tetraedron, Andy, who I haven't seen for ages. He bought the Bucky-Axe, which is a Variax 600, Variax 300 line 6 guitar that I was red and white, I really liked, but I've now painted it green and yellow and put a Buckfast label on it. So it's a Bucky-Axe, and he bought it ages ago, and then a couple of times I'm kind of organised to go down. One time he got COVID and something happened to me. This is probably this year, I think, just. But because I'm down in the area, he's about tomorrow as well, so I'm going to go and drop that off as well, and then I'm going to come back up the road. I'm going to go to Scott's to show him my new guitars. Obviously, he's also got he was kind of curious about it. Someone's asked him to set up a Harley Benton Telecaster, and he had to calm down physically, well, not physically, emotionally last night. He was in an absolute rage. He just said it was absolutely awful. And it's like, to be honest, I've had a few Harley Bentons through, and they're not awful. It might be just a luck thing whether you get a decent one or not. They're not as good as everyone says they are, though. You know, so you look on, if you just looked up Facebook and the internet, you would see folk going, "You're not Harley Benton, just as good as, you know, a custom shop vendor," and you're like, it seems to be quite a common thing for people to buy, like, I don't know, you know, like a £150 Harley Benton Strat, and then put bare knuckle £300 pickups in it. And it's like, no, I would definitely, rather than do that, I would just buy £100 guitar and then put Warmans in it are going to sound better than a £100 guitar with £300 pickups in it, I think. Depends how much time you're willing to spend on it. I think it's one of those ones that you're kind of almost buying a kit. You're almost buying a painted kit that someone's assembled just for looks. I mean, this thing's good. I had to go and see it. Scott was absolutely raging. I was like, come on, it's not that bad. I mean, I don't know whether he's maybe just used to having. He's got quite a few guitars, and most of them are really expensive. But they're not all really expensive. He's got like his Strat and his Telly are, you know, custom shop jobs, really expensive ones. And he's got like a Ibanez RG 1500 or something like that. But he still does have some, not going to say cheap guitars, but definitely can be bought second hand for same price as a Squire type things. He's got a Yamaha SG 200 and a few kind of wee niggly things like that are still classes has been really good. But you can't. It's just not. It's not going to happen. Like something like you can pick up a Yamaha SG 200, like an 80s one for I don't know, 300 quid, something like that. Don't be thinking that that's comparable to a second-hand Epiphone Les Paul. It's not. It's comparable to a second-hand Gibson Les Paul, but it's not. It doesn't say Gibson on it. You know, it's all about being a little bit clever about these things. It's just, even he was sitting there and he's talking to him last night. He's like, but yeah, we should do a video on it and call it. And these titles for the video. It was like the biggest heap of shite I've ever seen. Oh my god, Harley Benton, what the fuck are you doing? Well, these were the titles he was having up for the video, so it might not be quite as offensive as that. But I have to say that I've not come across a Harley Benton where I've gone, oh, that's really good. But I'm not sure there exists a guitar that you can buy brand new for 150 quid that's really good. Do you know what I mean? And I class them as, even, you know, I'm selling the Bucky Casters at like 150, that kind of price sort of thing, and they are good. They're as good as you can get a guitar at that price for. Plus it's got stupid pickups and painted green, but you know, that's just a well set up thing. It's how much time and effort you're willing to spend setting it up and finishing it off, I think is kind of the point. The Harley Bentons are basically the same as those the Telecasters I was buying from Fire Eagle in China, 26 quid a pop. Basically that's what you're buying for 100 quid. No, I wasn't buying the cheapest ones. It's probably the ones that they did. The guitars in China started at £15 for a Strat, honestly. And the cheapest Telly I could find was 30 quid. But I didn't buy the cheapest one because it was just like you could get it red or black. It's like and it was because the bridge, they didn't have the ashtray bridge. They had the other kind of bridge, the sort of crappy one, the ones you get in Harley Bentons, where it's kind of like there's two different Telecaster bridge sizes. There's the short, stumpy, 3-saddle original ashtray one, and then you get the sort of longer one, which sometimes has 6 saddles, but the really cheap ones only have 3. They're not. It's just not as good. I wanted, and I think that was the cheapest Telly I could find. And the second cheapest Telly was like, I think it was £36 or £34 for the one that was amazing. Fantastic guitar. I actually bought 2 of them. It was like a contoured heel, binding on the top, the ashtray bridge, maple neck for like an extra £5. It's like, right, I'll have that then. The one that actually looked tortoiseshell scratch plate. It didn't look like the cheapest Telecaster you could find, whereas the cheapest Telecaster you could find did look like the cheapest Telecaster you could find. Where am I going with this? I have no idea. Yeah, so skipping back again, my god, my brain is all over the place from Epic Quest. I'm going to go and pick up, I'm going to give him a phone tomorrow, my pal Chrissy, who messaged me when I was at Download. I think I sent him a picture of Kiss. I sent him and his pals were sitting there going, and he sent me a video back. So he's bought he's done a trade for I think it's a Gibson Firebird or something like that, a Firebird. Might not be a Gibson one. And he swapped it for a kircaldy thing, something like that. I've got a guitar he wants it set up, so he's kind of not that far away from Scott. So I'm back up the road from Killy to Uddingston, actually Uddingston he lives in. It's somewhere near that I don't know the name of. But I know how to find it. Probably, hopefully, when I see it. Tradeston? No, not Tradeston, something like that. Doesn't matter. For some reason I remember Uddingston, I think of an udder. We're on my comedy level now. Humorous words, udder, dung, things like that. Oh yeah, totally use them. And then I'm going over to Scots to see this Harley Benton, and I don't know what else the plan involves. That's it. That doesn't sound like that much of an epic quest, but it's, if I include this, it's an epic quest. I was looking at it last night, and I was like, can you go and pick up that? When can you drop off that guitar? And I was like, I offered to go and pick up the other the guitar bits that he's bought, just to work out the money for it. I assume I don't really want anything to do with it, so whatever it is that he owes him, I'll just get Taylor to PayPal it to me, then I'll just PayPal it to the guy when I go and pick it up. The guy seemed quite happy anyway. I think it's, you never know about these things with the guy with this did the same. It's like, because you get so many time wasters. Oh, I never told you how I got this guitar. My pal Ronnie sent it to me. I'd be like, this is happening. Oh wow, so I messaged. There's that, so before it was happening, that's pretty good, I'm good for that. So I've just messaged. So alright, cool, did you get in? And 10 minutes later, so you got, did you get the guitar? I was like, it's not messaged me back yet. Honestly, what? See what I normally do? I normally send them a photo of my other guitars and say it's going to a good home. I thought that's a little bit cheesy, but I did send the guy after 50 minutes after the initial message, and then it had a scene thing on it, but he didn't reply. I sent a picture 50 minutes later, just with no text, just a picture of my three Ibanez sitting in the garden, you know, like the Blazer, the RG and the Roadster bass. And then he immediately got back to me and said yes, and then I think it's just that whole thing about knowing that this person is serious, because you get so much faffing about. Even I get it all the time, even going straight to my Mad Malcolm Guitars Facebook page, I get lots. More than half, maybe not more than half, somewhere between a third and a half, I would say, of the messages I get are just time wasters. It's like, if I'm bored for 10 minutes, I'll just ask this guy how much it costs to do this and whether this is possible. Yeah, okay, I can do that, blah blah blah. No, you can't put humbuckers in that, you know, whatever. And then it's like, cheers, or it's just nothing. Or that girl who ordered that 23-cent Yamaha off me, they just said, oh, I've changed my mind. I'll not bother saying I've changed my mind or anything like that. I'll agree to meet somebody or agree to do something and then just never answer the phone again. Just never answer any messages. Great. But you can always tell an awful lot from people. I think just from the messaging, basically talking about getting a text message, you can kind of quite often tell exactly what's going on. So I refuse. I just don't reply to some of them. I even had it on. I'm trying to sell a Yamaha acoustic just now, and somebody offered 100 quid for it. And to be honest, I would probably have taken it. But the text messages, the message from Gumtree was 100. It's like, you can't be arsed typing, hi, I'm interested in this guitar, would you take 100 for it? No. I also had a bullshit artist onto me as well. Right, you just get scamming people. It's really annoying. What was it you said? It's up here, the guitar, it's up here. Yes, I've talked to a professional luthier. I'm concerned about the scratches in the back. I'll give you £70 for it. I was like, no, I need to sell it for a friend. I need to get more than that. It's worth more than that. So all the scratches in the back, the moisture's get into the wood, and it's going to cost £75 to repair. That's what. And you're just like, what's a load of shit? Do you know what I mean? It's got surface scratches on the back of it. None of them are through the polycoat. Even if they were, it's a fucking plywood body or laminate body guitar. You know, it's not a solid wood guitar. I'm selling it for 125 quid. I just don't understand how people think that's the way of doing it. Now, I want to do a deal where, I mean, I didn't haggle for this guitar. I'm sure I could probably haggle. If everything's as it says it is, I'm just buy it. That's fine. Okay. I'm sure because I've driven all the way over there and I offer him 20% less cash, he'd probably take it. No. I'm quite pernickety about these things. I'm also a wee bit, most folk are totally honest though. I feel there's a wee bit of sneakiness involved when you're kind of being a bit deceitful. And that whole thing about getting a luthier to fix a guitar because it's got scratches in the back of it. You know, so you could see the scratches in the photo a bit. But I mean, if he was really concerned, can I have some more close-up photos of it? Yeah, totally. I'll give you close-up photos to show it. But as soon as I saw the bullshit thing, I was like, right, off. Not interested. If anyone's ever tried to buy a guitar off me and I've just not answered you, you failed the vetting procedure. I've got to want to sell you the guitar because I don't sell shit ones or ones that aren't worth more than what I sell them for. And that's when you may be saying, oh, I've seen you selling those, you know, like a Yamaha Pacifica for 130 quid. I saw one in Gumtree for 50. Yes, you did. There is a possibility that it plays quite good. Quite a low one though. It's not been set up. It's not going to be 100%, or it might be. It's possible that you'll get it. It'll be 100% clean. Everything will work. It'll have been set up. It's possible, but highly unlikely. I just think the cheapest way around it. That's what I'm thinking there. When this Harley Benton Scott's talking about. He knows how to fix guitars, as do I. You know, dodgy frets, truss rods, the neck on it's at a funny angle, shimming, intonation, all that crap, which is not, it's not difficult to do, but you've got to know what a working guitar is like. And I think I feel it happens a little bit with these things, like, you know, your beginners guitars. There must be a like, see in Fight Club where you get the guy in Fight Club works for an insurance company and he goes around all the car accidents and he works out how many people die from dodgy brakes that are fitted to X model of car, and then that goes into like a chart, and then against, so you get insurance payments out to the families for the people who died for the car brakes fucking up, and then on the other side you've got how much does it cost to recall the cars and get the brakes replaced with ones that work. And as soon as, if it costs more money to recall the cars, then they'll just let people die. You know, how I got to that, there's nobody dying with guitars, but you got to look at it with like, I was just thinking of the idea of buying a cheap guitar. You know, you buy you pick up a Square Strat Gumtree for 50 quid. Yep, you can, but is it all there? Do you know what you're doing? I mean, if you take that into a shop to get it set up, and I'm not talking about cleaned or anything major done, it's going to cost you 60 quid just for them to change the strings, check the intonation, oil the fingerboard, and tune it. Are the tuners okay? Well, don't know. Are there any frets that are wrong? Because that doesn't come in under a setup. Or the nut cut well, that doesn't come in under a setup. It does with me, but it doesn't come in under the shop. It just build up. So eventually you go like, oh, what, this wire strap, 50 quid, what a bargain. Oh, I'll just go and get it. I'll get it all worked up, and then suddenly it's 150 quid. You think, well, you could have bought a new one or a better guitar for that. I wonder what this Ibanez is going to be like. I was going to take it's a bit cheeky, so I wasn't a different. I couldn't be bothered, to be honest. I was going to take my wee battery powered amp over, you know, the wee Black Star or something, or the wee orange one, and just stick it in my pocket with a wee lead on it, and then plug it in. Make sure all the pickups work, all that stuff, and if they don't, knock money off it. Which now I'm thinking about it, I wish I had done that, because this guitar is a bargain at the price it's at. If the Ibanez Super 70 bridge pickup works, then it's a really good buy. If it doesn't, if the pickup's physically broken, then it's probably still worth what I paid for it, and I'm sure I've got a pickup lying about that would suit the job. I like the idea of the Super 70, that's what Eddie Van Halen used. And it's also what's in the Washburn Falcon and all that, so basically it's a DiMarzio Super Distortion copy. Kircaldy bridge? No, I'm not doing the Kircaldy bridge. Imagine that on the way home. I'm just going to go, whatever way the sat-nav tells me, even though I haven't actually turned the sat-nav on yet. Let's do that. Why am I doing these videos? I'm doing this video just so I'm not bored driving. Because Scott's not here to talk to you instead. We'll need to do a bit of a quest with Scott though. Because then we can look at things and he can point out interesting things that he knows about whatever it is we are. Do you have any funny stories about Forth Road Bridge in Queen Ferry? Follow Perth? Perth? What? For a side, follow Pit right. I'm sure I know exactly where I'm going. Probably. It's probably a sign. No, don't want to do that. Where are we going to? Okay. Maps. Maps. Uphill Kircaldy Bridge, Edinburgh, Perth. Of course, just Perth is the other side of the Forth Road Bridge. I forgot about that. Turn it on when I'm not trying to get the sat-nav to work. Right, so according to these signs you get above the motorway when it's congested, it's got a big 40. That usually means that the theory there is if you drive at 40 miles an hour, you'll never have to stop. How true is that going to be? Sat-nav just showing a big red line coming up. If I keep going at 40, I should be able to keep going. So even if all these cars in front of me stop, it's all going so well. I wonder if there's been an accident or something. 7 miles before I got a junction to Glen office. The reason I left the camera on is because I'm assuming I'm about to go over the Forth Road Bridge. Or is there not a third Forth Road Bridge now? A second road bridge. There used to be a road bridge and a rail bridge, but now I think there's another bridge. The third one. Right, you can maybe see over there. That must be the bridge I'm going over. Why am I going in this direction if I'm going over that bridge? No, I'm going over this side. Yeah, so you might get to see the famous big red bridge, which I think I seem to remember doing a video about that before. So did I not go into the boatswain's locker when I bought my boat one time, or bits of my boat? Because that boat died and I rebuilt it using the dashboard from that boat and another one. Yeah. So I don't know if I put the angle, you're probably going to see me from crazy angles anyway. It might be a bit of a jaunty angle because there wasn't a flat bit on top of my dashboard to stick the GoPro mount. Stuck in traffic. There, you can see it over there, can you? There's the Forth Road Bridge, Forth Rail Bridge. Over the Firth of Forth. I'm going to go over this. Will be the first time I've ever gone over this bridge. I've been over the old car bridge plenty of times. I'm surprised that this is blocked. I would have thought that by having a second road bridge that, or maybe they just don't use that bridge anymore, or that's now become the express one. I'm still just seeing a big red line on sat-nav. 6.5 miles before a junction. Is that my actual speed? 14 miles an hour? 13 miles an hour. Okay, probably that's right. The wee panda's doing awful well. Really proud of you. I promise I'll give you a clean at some point. I need to actually go home. I need to be back tonight on time. Pal Ian, who I did the Fender 6, which I wasn't happy with. Basically similar to Scott's view on that Harley Benton. It's like it just needed so much work done to it, and it was brand new. Well done. Sorry I get rudely interrupted by a phone call there, and you missed the fourth rail bridge. Not that it was that exciting. Yeah, so I was saying there, or was I saying? Yeah, so I was talking about the Fender 6, which needs, I don't know how, to make it play properly, it needed, you get a luthier, it's going to cost you £100. I would have thought, there just seemed to be too much about it. I actually said to the guys, I think you should send it back. Do you want me to try and proceed? So he bought it brand new, so it's not like it's, I've already bought it second hand, in case I would have fixed it and undercharged him as usual, but it's just, there's too many things. I don't know. His view is about he bought it from GAC or back, whatever it is. They want it back, and they'll send him another one, and then he'll send it back to Fender apparently. I'm wondering if they're all like that. My pal Andy's got one. I remember not really particularly thinking it was that good. The Squire 6, Squire one, not the Fender one. I don't know what the Fender one's like. It just seemed a bit. So again, is it just one of those things? It's a bit of a shit concept. It's like, well, we still sell it because people want to buy them, but it doesn't really work. Because I mean, it kind of doesn't. You could make it work. I mean, I could play it. Do you know what I mean? It's like you could, if you had to, you could maybe use it for a song. But I wouldn't describe it as fully working. And that was like £400 or £350. Which for me, 350, £400 should get you a pure belter of a guitar that doesn't really have any issues. The only way I would expect a guitar to be worth £350 and not play well is it's actually a £1,000 guitar that's got things wrong with it. That's why I got it for £350. Basically something like that SG. When I was talking about earlier on, I just swapped. Yeah, so I was going to say on my Epic Quest tomorrow, when I was over last night, which I'm going to assume is Epic Quest Part 1, I went and swapped the SG for 2 guitars and an amp. The amp used to belong to the guy with the Fender 6, and he swapped it for an LTD Phoenix, which is the one that I put a Floyd Rose FRX on a couple of months ago. And he also said, I swapped a guitar the other day as well. I swapped something for a Firebird. Well, the guy said he knew you as well, so I'm also, that's the other guy I'm going to go and pick up the guitar, the guy in Uddingston with the Firebirds for a setup. So it's like, just people all over the place know everyone. And I think there's quite a lot of people like me, but maybe not quite as mad, would have a sort of constant in and out of guitars. I think a lot of people tend to keep half a dozen all the time, so they maybe always got half a dozen to 10 guitars. There'll be a couple that they will never sell, but there's ones that kind of run on a rotary basis, you know, maybe. Which if you're buying things second hand and you're clever and know what it is you're looking for, it's actually, I don't see any harm. I think it's quite a good idea. So if you're talking about, I quite fancy, got my Les Paul, I've got my Strat, I quite fancy a Telecaster. I wonder if I'll like Telecasters. Buy a used one for the lower end of what it's worth on Facebook Marketplace or something, or trade it. Get a Telecaster, and in 6 months' time, if it turns out you don't really like Telecasters that much, trade it for something else. Maybe try a Jaguar or an Ibanez or something. There's a very, I don't know. Everyone likes slightly different guitars. I'm sure this Roadstar would not appeal to a lot of people. The guy left the advert up. It was still up last night. Luckily, he got back to me this morning to say that he would accept PayPal. So I knew it was, the deal's still on. Normally, if you get a guitar at this bargainous level, he should have had 10 messages within the first hour, and I don't think he did. Otherwise, he would have pulled the advert much quicker than he did. Normally, if I do that, if someone says that they're coming to take the guitar tomorrow, I would normally leave it up for another wee bit until I had another couple of bites. I'd go, you're right, sorry, there's a guy meant to come tomorrow, but I've got to get your number. I'll call you back if it's, I'll give you first option if it doesn't sell. I normally like to have that. Actually, I've done it before with the Bucky Casters at the start, especially, when it was, right, yes, it's been on for 5 minutes and you bought it. It's sold to you, right? Do you mind if I leave the advert up for another half hour so I get a bit more publicity for it and more people see it? Not so much now, but back when I started doing it, when I was getting 200 like, I get 200 likes for the first and the second one, and I was getting all these comments, and everyone just tagging their pals, and well, look at this Buckfast caster. Maybe a little bit of the shine's gone off them. Saying that, I'm selling one tomorrow, and I'm doing a strong, and I'm dropping off a Strongbow one as well, so maybe not. A lot of my guitars these days are actually selling just from direct contact. I never even get to actually go up for sale. You know, I get a wee message, oh, you think you're selling that? So yeah, I've not put advert, yeah, I think I'm looking for, we're going to list it for 150 quid. And it's like, you're right, no more, listen, I'll take it. Cool. And these are, as long as there's people I know within, you know, don't need to have ever met them. If I recognise their names, sort of thing, you know they're cool. Rather than being a random person. Most folk are nice. I don't know what this. I have absolutely no idea what this guy's going to be. Might not even be a guy. Was it? I can't remember. The guy from Thingy seemed nice. The guy picking up those guitar parts from Taylor. You're saying you can tell not just from a text message. Oh, hey, Malcolm, how's it going? And I was, yes, he mentioned me, and then it was like ping up, sold. Now once I was going to go and definitely go and get it. Pulled the advert. Okay, that's another phone call coming in 2 seconds. So I will get back on once I've got the guitar. There's no point in doing these videos. I'm just doing it to keep myself amused. You know, so this will be a daytime, lunchtime. Maybe I should start a second channel for random chit chat and sort of scenery of Scotland. Although when I say scenery of Scotland, it's really my face, a little bit of the sky, so the weather is. There's a rock of some sort you can't see now already. And hills, I suppose, sort of, maybe. Anyhow, walking. If I see anything interesting, I don't want to be offensive to people from Glenrothes, but I'm not sure there is anything really that exciting in Glenrothes. From memory, there will be. Maybe a castle or something. Oh! I've had a thought. Yeah. Oh, how far away? If I go the other way, rather than coming along to sort of Edinburgh, crossing over and then go over to get to the East Coast, I can, because I'm coming from where I'm coming from, it was only an extra 5 minutes to go via Stirling. Or I think it was the same time, but it was 2 miles longer, 5 minutes, you know, pretty much 6 1/2 dozen to go home via Stirling. How far is it to Doon Castle from Stirling? It's not that far. That's where Monty Python and the Holy Grail was filmed. All the castles, all the interior shots, because Historic Scotland decided, after allowing Monty Python to use all the castles, they weren't allowed to use any of them. So they were like, oh, we're doing a film starting in 2 weeks. We've got no castles, and Doon Castle is privately owned. Yeah, fine. So you'll see. I've only been there one time before. Me and my pal Mo went, just way back from Pitlochry. All the castles, like it's just basically the bit where they throw the cow over the wall. That's kind of round the corner from the bit when Lancelot's charging up the drive and all these things. Even though they're different castles in the film, they're all the same castle from every conceivable angle to make it look a little bit different. Apart from Castle Stalker at the end, which I think is just a ruin. Or they sneakily did it without bothering to tell Historic Scotland or whatever, kind of off Historic Scotland for political reasons. They're not very Scottish. They arrested some walkers, 6 folk, 10 folk, old age pensioners, walked from up north somewhere. They were going to walk to Stirling Castle with the Saltires as a sort of independence march thing, just walking. I think it took them 3 weeks. And then they got there and they put the police on them because you're not allowed to fly a saltire in a castle. And I saw that I saw on Facebook there was pictures that these walkers had taken when the police arrived, and it was them with the police, smiling and hands in hand because the police are going, I can't believe we get called for half a dozen 50, 60-year-olds walking with hiking boots and a flag, and we get called as a breach of the peace and all that. Insane. Anyway, I'll have maybe have a wee political rant on the way home. There's some politics going on just now that I'm not happy about. That'll be fun. Rocking. Hey, come back. Deal's done. The guy didn't know what he had. One of his friends gave it to him years ago. It was sitting there. It's actually quite. It's not been played. I've barely played it since I got it. I think somebody probably gave it to him 20 years ago or something like that. And it's just sat there, which is quite nice. It's nice. At least it's been enjoyed to be looked at. Probably not the best place. I'll wait till I'm on a wee bit more open roads and I'll show you. Body coloured headstock. Yeah, came with a stand as well, a matching stand. So it's sat. I think I got the impression this is sat on its stand in the living room for decades, and basically been a sort of ornament. It doesn't have the, as I suspected, it doesn't have the proper clip lock things. You know, the strap lock. Not strap locks, the wee triangular things you got in 1986 on Ibanez guitars, but I looked them up before and they were like 60 quid or something like that. So I'm not really that bothered. I can handle putting strap buttons on. I can handle it not having the original strap buttons. There was actually a point I was actually thinking of making them out of that aluminium sheeting, because really all it is a piece of metal in a sort of rough triangular shape. So I could take one off my. Does the Roadstar bass have them? The Blazer doesn't. Lena definitely, the RG530 definitely has them. Take one of them off, draw around it and make them. I'm getting visions of actually remembering doing that actually. I think I might have started making them. Yeah. That's always nice. So, nice wee pleasant drive. What time is it? It says an hour and 8 minutes and it's just now. I don't think I'm talking there about going home via Doon Castle, but I think that, although it doesn't seem very far, it doesn't seem far past Stirling when you're driving to Pitlochry. You know, you're in an hour and a half's drive. I did every day, there and back to work. It's probably 15 minutes from Stirling up the way, and then 15 makes it half an hour, assuming I don't spend, and then say 10-15 minutes there makes it 45 minutes. It's now 5:30 and I've got to be back by 7, which is when I said to Ian that I would be home. So that was it. Normally sometimes I'm quite pleased when I see, not that I don't like talking to people, I'm a talker though. I just managed to talk the whole time I was there, and the guy had bad internet for getting the PayPal to go through, but it worked. But he's not a guitar-y person. I went real technical on them, on him and his wife. I was really technical, but I like this one. See, they painted the headstock red to go with the body. That's cool. And I was like, do you know what did this? It's got a push-pull pot in it for coil splits. In fact, it's the same flipping one that I hate. It's in my RG, obviously, because it's from 96 as well. The one where you can't see whether it's coil split or not coil split, because it doesn't act like a pen. So that was kind of, I bet I could sell it. I wonder how much I'd get for that on eBay. Because somebody's going to want an original Ibanez thing. I'm pretty sure I've seen the knobs go for 40 odd quid just for plastic knobs. Which, to be honest, aren't really that nice or that good, but it's the original. If you get, especially the thing with these things is that it is an RS140. It's still got the sticker in the back of the headstock, so that's how good nick it is. It's got a bit of a chunk at the back of the neck, just at the second fret, but on the front, on the back even, just right where your thumb is, and a few chips around the edges, but ultimately it's in pretty good condition. I think I'm going to obviously take it to bits and polish it, and the bridge is all there. Oh, well, it doesn't have the tremolo arm. I've no idea whether. Straight onto the Ibanez Facebook site and seen if it had to get what exact size of tremolo arm to fit, and I might just buy the exact correct one. I did that before, but I used to buy tremolo. I think the last time I bought. This is pre-Brexit though. I'm not getting political. I'm not allowed to talk about Brexit, remember? And that's why there is actually a thing on the BBC and British TV that you're not allowed to mention the B word. So you could be sitting, you see all these people, you know, like farmers and hauliers and business people going up here, no, it's pure, company's pure knackered, had to close it down, fucked. So up here, it's to do with the war in Ukraine. Oh, and the COVID thing. Yeah, it's because of COVID you can't export. That makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah. That was just an absolute kick in the balls. I'm sure the government would have absolutely loved that. Sorry, I got political, didn't I? They would have loved that, going up here, oh God, what are we going to do this Brexit thing? People are going to notice that we lied. Okay, I'm okay, I got £10 million from it, you know, and so did all of us around this table who bribed all the people to say that it was a good idea. You know, everyone, we're all doing alright, but I mean, they're going to notice, aren't they? Are the scum not going to notice that they've been conned into voting for something that's completely insane? It's like, oh, there's a pandemic coming. Is there? Oh, we can blame the pandemic on everything. Yes. That gives us a year or whatever it was, 2 years. Then you can see, oh, the pandemic's getting over. Oh God, right? They're going to start noticing that everything's completely fucked because of that Brexit thing. War in Ukraine. Oh, there's a war. Yes, there's a war. Fantastic. That means we can fill the news up with that and not bother talking about it. Sorry. I did warn earlier on in this video I was going to go for a political rant. Well, I think that this will obviously have to be the political rant section. So yeah, so Sturgey was on TV yesterday morning. Anyone who thinks that British TV media is not owned by the Conservative Party, because it is, right, 100%, should try watching some of these things. I watched the thing, it was Sky News. I didn't really realise they were one of the British media things. It was Sky News and they were talking about it, and it was up here, yeah, Nicola Sturgeon talking about independent referendum. Even though they said last time, you're like, this is the person commentating. So how blatantly propaganda can it possibly be? You know, it's like, it's up here, yeah, so we've got Mr. Smith here, who's on trial for fraud. He did it, by the way. He did it. Fucking did it. He did it. Oh, so we're going to find out what the result is later on. Doesn't matter what the result is. He did it. We know he did it. And we're telling you he did it. It's like that. It's bastards. Absolutely disgusting. So what did they do? She did a press conference talking about, you know, the new independence referendum that's coming up at some point. And one of the questions was, so what about this? Oh, this ex-SNP guy has been convicted of, or not, he's got into trouble, or he's been questioned about, I don't know, sexism or molestation. Sounds bad. Do you know what I mean? Like inappropriate behaviour or something. And Nicola Sturgeon's like, she managed to keep her head, but she did kind of go red. And up here, yeah, as you were well aware, that was announced after I had started doing this talk. So they waited until after, so she so what do you think of this report? And it's like, well, obviously I've not read the report, because as you fine well know, that report was intentionally issued halfway through my speech. So how can I comment on a report I can't have read? It's like, yeah, okay, so somebody has been done for inappropriate behaviour. Look at the number of pedos that are in Westminster, the ones that are like your Jimmy Savile types, you know, who for 40 years have been grooming little girls and taking them away to special holiday homes and bumming them and stuff like that, and it's totally, oh, we just lost all that documentation. No. He's a good upstanding chap. No, he's not. You're not a good upstanding chap if you're kiddie fiddling, basically. No, you're not. You're fucking evil. Which suits quite nicely to be in government, doesn't it? Where you can just, the ability to just let people die and suffer as long as you get something. I'm going to kill this person, I'll give you £100 though if you don't tell anyone. Oh hey, brilliant, £100, next. That's how it works. As I'll get back on the guitars. Yeah, the sat-nav's not taking me past Castle anyway. At some point, the thing is, it'd have to be a really good guitar to be worth this sort of drive. I've made this mistake a couple of times. I drove to, the one that I always remember being a particularly stupid move, I bought a Telecaster thin line, which was a badly built kit, which I've still got sitting in the attic. One day I'll get round to it, and I think it was 20 quid, and I drove to the other side of Edinburgh. So I drove for like an hour and 20 minutes or something to go and get it, and an hour and 20 minutes to get back, and ended up with a £20 guitar that was basically fucked. It's completely stupid. I seem to remember actually it was the last Panda and there was something wrong with the starter motor. So I remember phoning the guy when I was near his house saying, look, can you come out and meet me? I'm sorry, I can't turn my car off in case it doesn't start again. That's how stupid that was. And I've always been a little bit wary of doing that again. You know, I keep seeing guitars in Dundee and all that, and it's like, yeah, okay, totally. Oh, square strap for 30 quid, that's a really good buy. It's going to cost me, 3 hours driving and petrol money to go and get that guitar. I do figure it's probably worth it for that roadstar though, because it's very nice. It's basically Ivor's bass apart from it's a guitar. I didn't take an amp with me, so I'm just going to assume it works. Like, there's no way that the guy knew it worked. The strings on it, I've been on it for 10 years. Neck looks good though. Frets, happy to look at it. Completely untouched. So it might actually be in very good condition by the time I cleaned it up. I know how I got onto politics. I was talking about when I bought tremolo arms, and I remember buying them, and it was like they were £1 each and £1 delivery or something. But you could buy 5 for a £5 and you get free delivery. So I just bought, and you could buy them all from. If you bought them all from the same shop, they put them all in the same bag and only charge you delivery once. So I was just, I need a tremolo arm. I'll just buy, 2 that look like that, 2 that look like that, 1 that looks like that for a £5 and just buy them, even though I didn't need them. And then a month later or 2 months later they would arrive and I was like, oh, I'll get tremolo arms. I don't think I'll get any of them left. But then for my West Tone Pantera, I bought a Gotoh one, which I think was about a tenner, and it just fitted perfectly. So I think that it might be worth the investment to just spend a tenner and just buy the actual proper one to get that trem working. Like an Ibanez own design trem. I need to look up and see what it's actually called as well. Listen, I have to pull over for that. It's like, you're playing the guitar when you're driving? No, we're showing it to the camera. You're making a video when you're driving? Yes. Nothing wrong with that. It is roasty toasty. Okay, that's me getting my phone calls back again. I don't know where I'm going. Right away. I'll know where I'm going in a minute. Rocking. Yeah. So I'm not answering my phone, I'll just keep beeping you. You're probably doing a video, we'll phone you again. Oh, you hung up. Oh, you must have accidentally hung up. We'll phone you back again immediately. Right. Cheers. Yeah. It's pure roasting and pure sweating here. And if cars here don't have air conditioning, because it's not hot enough ever to have it, really. Unless you get a really expensive car, they don't bother fitting it to anything else. It's an optional extra. Yeah, I was talking about the travelling thing, which I really, I'm grateful, but I am not lucky about the whole. Well, I'm lucky. Fuck it, I'm lucky and grateful. Sorry. I've got agents. I think not all of you know who you are. Like getting messages, I get like, oh, have you seen this guitar? It's like, no, I hadn't seen it. A lot of the more recent guitars I've bought in the last year or 2. I used to spend a lot of time on Gumtree, and I used to basically sit and, while I was watching TV, every 20 minutes at certain times of after dinner time and on Saturday, I used to check Gumtree to see what was new to try and get the bargains, because obviously if it's an amazing guitar that should be £300 and it's £30, lots of people will contact about it. I used to do that. That's how I used to get them now. And then I started using Facebook Marketplace an awful lot more. And now, and because I've got everyone I know is a guitar-y person, and I totally understand the feeling from everyone else. It's like, oh, that's a really good buy. Totally, I don't want it, but that's really good. I don't want to see that go. I'd rather Malcolm had it. Just kind of how these things work a little bit. I've certainly done that myself as well. It's the same with, see that the ID Core amp, which is really, really flipping good. Totally don't need it. I actually bought it for 7, she just didn't want it, but it's really good. And it's like, alright, what am I going to get for it? And it's like, I'd probably get 50 quid for it, maybe 40, 50 quid. It's a good amp for that. And then turned out it's got one, and that was like, oh brilliant, yeah, sell it to someone that I know will get use out of it and will appreciate it, rather than selling it to somebody, which often happens, and you just accept it. And some people are so brazen about it, they'll see a guitar for 50 quid, it's worth 150, so they'll buy it, run over, get it, and then that night it's back on Facebook Marketplace again for the price that it should be. You're just like, I don't get any sort of qualms about that. I mean, even I tend to keep them for at least, even if that sort of thing does happen to me, I won't try and sell it on the same site. I used to, buy in Gumtree, sell on eBay, buy on eBay, sell on Facebook Marketplace. At least shift it about, or wait a month. But I mean, even, to be honest, there's not very many guitars, any guitars, I've really bought and literally just sold it, or cleaned it and sold it. Every one I've always done something to and set them up and got them all working pristine, and maybe put some extra switches or stuff like that. I just do that to try and sell. You don't need to have the extra switch, you don't really need the Gilmore switch or to be able to split the humbucker or stuff, but I mean, for the case of, okay, it takes me half an hour to do it, but sticking a £2 switch in it and I get an extra, I probably don't get any extra money, but it sells quicker because people go, oh, there's a Squire Strat, that's fine. Oh, it's a plain boring black one, just what I want. Oh, that one's got a switch, it says it's called the Dave Gilmore switch, I'll have to buy that. That's exactly why I did it. You'll probably notice from actually my guitars, I'm not going to say none, but very, very few of them have got crazy wiring in them, the ones I've got for myself. Mostly because they're not, they're not worth money, really. But something like that, keep it original, okay, paid not very much for it. Didn't pay nothing for it. I mean, comparing that to, was that a better buy than the Roadstar bass? I had to drive to Edinburgh for it. That was cheaper though. It totally needed, it fucked. This one probably is going to work. Oh, I'm getting windy. But the Blazer was the one. I mean, it totally needed painted. The guy said it didn't have any knobs on it or anything like that, and it didn't have knobs, and I didn't think it had pots, but actually what had happened is all the electrics had been unscrewed from the top, so it didn't have any bolts that hold the pots on, but all the pots were already inside it. Well, I paid 25 quid for that. And again, that was Craig, the guitarist from Black Sabbath band, sent me. He was like, look, there's a Blazer you were talking about there, it's only 25 quid. I was like, that'll have sold in 10 minutes. He was like, the ad's only been on 4 minutes. I didn't even bother sending me to the Garden Bridge. I didn't even bother texting that. That was a Gumtree one, and I had a phone number on it, so I just phoned it straight up. Right. Still got a guitar? Yes, I'll take it. Are you in just now? I'll come and get it. And I was like, yeah, no problem. I was like, right, where are you? Blah blah blah. Ticked it, Google Maps. Okay, I'll be an hour and 5 minutes. And this was at like 9 o'clock at night or something like that. What that guy's doing? Is he just gonna drive it? He wasn't even looking. He would basically just have driven into the side of me if I hadn't pulled over there. I looked, I could see him inside when I was looking, he was talking to his person in the passenger seat. Mental. He was lucky it was a guy, not a woman, otherwise I would have been sexist like that. Here's some news. Didn't get to see it wherever because Civic phone. But there you go, so there's the bridge I'm about to go over, I think. That'd be the new road bridge. Oh, very pretty. But hot. So basically just now, this is once I get a little bit further along here, turn the camera left and you'll see the sea on the other coast of Scotland. We've basically done, and when I do the epic quest tomorrow, down to the Shire, you'll see the sea on the other side. So that out on the left there's the North Sea, and tomorrow when I do another video, which I don't know what we're stuck onto this, so we'll go over there. You should be able to see the Forth Rail Bridge, which is the red one, and beyond that is the North Sea. So, and this is obviously it's tidal and stuff. But I bet you're just looking at the window of the car there. My grandpa used to work painting that. I wonder if they still have. They probably get better paint now, but it used to be back in the day. It was always red. I don't know if it was always red. It was always red. But it used to basically there would be like a squad on painting it, and they would just basically paint it constantly. That's why the saying is paint the Forth Road Bridge, Forth Rail Bridge. As soon as you finished it, you just go to the start and do it again, because by that point it was painted. And that down on the right there, which you might not be able to see, or you might be able to see depending on how the fisheye's working, is the boatswain's locker, or I want to say Port Edgar. Is it Port Edgar Marina? But my boat was down there, in there, the first time I saw it as a rescue boat. For a couple of years. I always thought it looked really weird. It was a pig nose on it. And then a couple of years later, I saw it. It was for sale in the boatyard. I was like, oh, I have to have that. It's totally cool as fuck. And I've still got bits of it. Seat, the dashboard. Did I remake the seat? I can't remember. It's a wee bit of the. Just getting text messages. Oh. Yeah, I've already had my political rant. Right, so I think I'll probably just call it a day at that. I won't. I'll think of something to rant about. So it doesn't cost me any money. Glasgow, Stirling, Edinburgh, one of them. I was asking it to turn left. What the fuck have I just done? I've just missed the junction like a total idiot. I should have gone up there and turned right. I bet you this is going through that traffic. Ah, how annoying. So my faith in Google Maps has gone down a bit. Oh, that jaunty angle. Screw it, so the mount on. My camera might just fall off at some point. Oh, really? Faith in Google Maps has gone down a little bit, because I was sitting there coming up for a junction and it was like M8 Glasgow, 53 minutes to get home. Like, no, I took the M9. I ignored it, took the M9. And as soon as it recalculated, once a couple hundred yards past it, 41 minutes. So I saved 12 minutes just by outthinking the sat nav. So it's not as super good as you would think, as I thought it was. So I'm wondering, when I went to both to and from Waynes from the motorway, it was taking me some crazy routes. I assumed it was that. This is definitely the best way to go. I'm not seeing any traffic, but I wonder if it was actually, I just drove further than I actually had to, and I could have actually stayed at my 92.9 or whatever it was, rather than driving about wee country roads. I said, oh no, back down the second again. That's why my overall fuel consumption was at 90.9 when I got there, not 92 point something when I got off the motorway. I'm sorry, going back to that guitar, the guy said there was lots of phone calls after. I think he was honourable about it though. He's thought there's a point here where I've had this happen to me before. At least he didn't. When someone puts up a guitar for 150 quid or something, and he gets 10 replies, of which I was the first. And it's like, you get a wee message later on saying, I'm not selling the guitar anymore. Like it's some punk has done the dishonourable thing, which I would never do. I never have, and never will. Even if it was a guitar I really, really, really wanted. Just got up and 150 quid. So it's like, right, well, I'll give you 200 though. That's that. Whoever said that's a dick. And if the guy responds by going, okay, he's a dick as well, but he's not. He was lovely. obviously he got what he was asking for. I didn't haggle. I could have haggled, but I didn't. I don't like to haggle. I would only haggle if I don't think it's worth what it is I'm paying for. You know, that's where it comes in. I keep talking about square strats. You know, you buy a square strat and you go and get it, it's saddle's missing off or the tuner's missing or something. You're like, well, I'm not giving you full money for that. Or if I'm not 100% sure about the guitar or it's approaching what I think it's worth, I will say, can I come and see it? Because that's me not committed to anything. Whereas if I say, right, I'll take it, I will take it unless there's something hugely wrong with it. You know, not as described type thing. And saying that, I did drive, you know, an hour to get to it, so I would have basically just thrown away 2 hours. But, and a 10-minute diesel. But, I'll survive. So I'm looking forward to playing this. Quite good, especially as I get the new orange amp to play it through. So basically what it's getting done is it's going home, it's getting stripped tonight. Is it? Is it going to get played first? The strings are minging. So it's getting stripped tonight, deep cleaned, put back together again, restrung, and I will play the orange amp with its volume controller. Barely, you know, just almost cutting out low. That's the downside of it. One thing, I'm loving that orange amp. The thing I'm not super happy with is the volume on it. Even at a quarter power, you're still sitting there with the volume control at, oh, it's off, it's off, it's off, oh, it's on. You're at that volume. I would like an amp where, you know, between 1 and 3 is still quite quiet and then it starts getting much louder. That might be a valve thing though. You know, I noticed that quite a lot of the amps, you know, it's like the difference between a quarter volume and a half volume is not half. It's not, you don't double the volume by doubling the knob. And then that's when you always start getting to the sort of limits of it. After the end bass amps like that, there's not a huge difference between 3/4 volume and full volume. So a wee bit, not a huge amount. I would like a volume control that just went evenly all the way up. Oh, you want it to be at half volume, put the knob at halfway. Doesn't work that way. But amps tend not to. Digital amps probably do. Solid state amps might. That's the thing I like about the Kircaldy again, which I'm actually going to think of. I'm going to offer. I want you to try and fix the crackly pots first. I'll give him the. I might give it to Ian and say, because he commented me and said the other day it sounds pure crap in the video. So I'm right. Take it away and see, you know, try it, see if you can get something out of it. Because I even had a shot of it after I'd been playing the orange for a bit. I started setting up the BB Telecaster, and then I was like, alright, I'll see what the carbon sounded like. I expected it to be pure shit because I'd just been playing through the Osmo, and it's totally different, but it's good, but it's completely different. So this whole thing, they seem to spend so much time on all solid state amps and everything. So I've been, oh, it sounds like a tube amp, sounds like a tube amp, sounds like a slipper. It does a different, it's able to do a different thing. You can't really make a solid state amp sound like a tube amp, in my experience, like properly. But you can still get really nice sounds out of it. You can get lots of sounds out of it you can't get out of a tube amp. So basically the Carlton is definitely staying. Partly because it looks so cool, but it's really bizarre when I took it into the studio though, because it just stayed the same when you turned it up. All the other amps have got, you turn them up, you turn to mush. When you're in the studio and it sounds great, you can make tons of mistakes and they don't show it. The Carlton was just sounded exactly the same, but from twice the volume. Alright, and then it was just too loud. It's like normally you turn it up till it starts to, it didn't start. Partly because I think it's 100 watt and it's got a massively over-spec speaker in it. Fantastic. Oh, I might take that in the studio. I must be in next week or something. I'm talking about trying to record a couple of songs actually. One of mine and one of Nick's. Quite good. I was enjoying using the SG. It was filling out an awful lot more space than the single coils, but for some bits, the single coils are just so much more in single coils more than humbuckers. It's disgusting, I know. And basically it started off, I never used to play clean ever, until I started doing the YouTube videos, and then it was like, alright, I should probably demonstrate what this guitar sounds like clean, and then demonstrate what it sounds like, and then I ended up liking the clean, and then I got a Strat, and then I ended up liking Strats. It's like, never rest on your laurels with these things. Oh, I don't like Telecasters, I don't like Les Pauls. Well, for me, I don't like Les Pauls. I've maybe just not been in the right situation yet, or had the right one, or been in the right mood, or had it plugged into the right amp or something. There must be something in it, because everyone loves it, you know? Mind you, everyone loves Epiphone Les Pauls in their shine. In my opinion. Everyone loves Harley Davidsons. Scott doesn't. He's looking at buying a 7-string. We were looking at, because I think he's going to give up on the 8-string. He offered it, he said, do you want it back? I was like, happy or not? It's taking up space. Basically the 8-string's going back in a gig bag. I should just sell it. Or do I swap it for something? I swap it for a 7-string? I don't really want a 7-string. I've got I made one. I made a 7-string telly, and it's like, yeah, it's fine, it's fun. None of the music I really like has 7-string guitar in it, and apart from maybe cant. I don't know. I just don't really play that way. You need to do things a little bit differently. But saying that, I had a shot at that MT2 metal zone pedal. It was actually pretty good. I quite liked it. It was very, again, not the sound I would always gravitate to, but why not have other sounds? Not just don't try and approximate the sound that I always use when I like. Other sounds can be good as well. You play with it for half an hour, and you might end up doing something you don't know. And I found out I could do that ding 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 thing, chugging. I didn't know I could do that. I can, yes. Just because I had that metal zone pedal, I think I used my the Ibanez RG for that. And although it's a 86 one, it's still got that kind of pickup, the sort of pickup that can do Metallica. They're not active or anything, but in that era. Yes, of course you can play that on a Telecaster, but it's not really what it's for. It's not as good at it. Again, it just gives you a different sound. Okay, I think I've probably nearly done this video for nearly 2 hours, which is completely stupid, pointless. It's like having a phone call, but I don't have to try and listen. I was talking to Simon earlier on in the phone, saw the phones, and it was just like, she talks like that, really quietly. I'm shouting! I'm shouting because I can't hear you! Whereas I think she's at the other end going, I can hear you absolutely fine, so because I can hear you really loud, I'll talk really quietly. So, what? Rocking. Catch you later for tomorrow's quest. Well, this will probably be going out actually while I'm on tomorrow's quest. Off to the Shire, to the west coast. There's the Ochils. Over there. Which you would have thought actually would have been quicker because I was just over there. If you've gone that way, come over the Garden Bridge, but I didn't do that. I'm going to go for a sweaty and get my thumbnail ready. Catch you later.